Prescribed fire is an essential component for the stewardship of fire-adapted ecosystems, and there is a rising tide of strategies throughout the United States to promote fire as a management tool. Prescribed burn associations put community members, landowners, and their neighbors at the forefront of these efforts. As a student in an ecological modeling research group that simulates the future impacts of fire and other management practices on forested landscapes, I've been curious to learn more about prescribed burn associations and to speak with someone who works directly with them. My name is Andrew Shannon, and I'm currently a PhD student with the Center for Geospatial Analytics at North Carolina State University, as well as a Global Change Fellow with the Southeast Climate Adaptation Science Center. I recently got to have a conversation with Jennifer Fawcett, who works with the university's extension program, about her involvement with prescribed burn associations in the southern United States. The following conversation was recorded in April of 2022. Please introduce yourself and tell me a bit about your current work.
Sure. I'm Jennifer Fawcett. I work in Extension Forestry at North Carolina State University, where my primary responsibility there is to coordinate a Southern Regional Prescribed Fire Working Group with a partnership called SURPASS. So this partnership is made up of state and federal natural resource agencies, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, kind of all with this similar goal to help increase the safe and effective use of prescribed fire across the South. So part of my job is to help provide support in the forms of time, resources, and education to make that happen.
There's been a growing awareness, it seems, of good fire, safe fire, prescribed fire in the general public. And this past year was even my first time learning about the efforts specifically of prescribed burn associations. So from your perspective, what is a PBA? And can you tell me a bit about how they've developed in the Southeast and how you work with them?
Prescribed burn associations, or as you'll hear me call them, PBAs, they're grassroots organizations. They're landowner driven, where people come together to share their knowledge, to share their resources, to help each other burn on their land. So it's really neighbors helping neighbors. Members of the PBAs work together by pooling their equipment, pooling resources, organizing training opportunities, helping out with prescribed burn on each other's properties. They also might teach upcoming generations and some of the more inexperienced members kind of the value of fire and how to safely use it. So it's a very experiential, hands-on opportunity where people will help each other burn on each other's land. PBAs formally began in the 1990s in Nebraska, Texas, and shortly thereafter in Oklahoma and kind of these other Midwestern states for the main objective of overcoming barriers to burning on rangelands specifically. In the South, they've been a little bit slower to gain traction, but the first one just developed fairly recently for forestry rather than those rangeland objectives of the Midwestern states. And that was the North Carolina Sandhills PBA, and that was in either 2014 or 2015. And this PBA is located in the Sandhills of North Carolina. They provide workshops, field days, mentorship programs for private landowners and really any participants. It's not just limited to to private landowners, but really anyone who wants to increase their comfort, capacity, confidence to conduct burning. So there's that hands-on component where they can actually get out in the field, do some burns. And one of their goals is actually also to help restore the longleaf pine ecosystem. So there is a focus on that for that specific PBA. But really, they're all quite a bit different across the country. Since that one formed, several of them have actually popped up across the Southeast, and also even some Western states like California now have several PBAs. So my most recent count was more than 100 PBAs nationally at this point. So they're expanding all over the place right now. And then my role is to help provide support and education for PBA members across the entire southern region, to help people start one in their area if they're interested in potentially forming one, how to help kind of get their feet off the ground to do that. And I also help to coordinate the newest PBA in North Carolina, which is the Southern Blue Ridge PBA in western part of the state.